Good morning, Sam.
Good evening, Mallory.
Welcome back to Nobody Leaves. This is a podcast where we rehabilitate people with bad interests who don't know about good media. We take people who are so-called cinephiles that are all out here watching Good Will Hunting and what was the one you kept referencing before? A Streetcar Named Desire, Magnolia.
At the end of this episode, when I recommend you, we're gonna watch 8.5. That'll be
all these. We take people who have, these trash tastes, and we turn them over to the good side. We talk about stuff like Homestuck. We talk about Hazbin Hotel. We talk about The Amazing Digital Circus. We're all about these shows. So that's what we are doing on this podcast today. We're going to be talking about Hazbin Hotel Season 1 in preparation for Season 2, and also a bunch of other stuff at the beginning of the podcast. Sam, how are you doing this week?
I recommended you I Want to Touch Boobs anime last week, so I don't like this highbrow frou-frou characterization versus lowbrow hip internet trendy dichotomy that you're putting. You have painted me as the anti-fun juror number 8, while you are the stoic, cool juror number 6, or whatever the 12 Angry Men meme is. I can enjoy some internet stuff.
Yeah, Sam can hang.
I'll watch a Rick and Morty episode, I guess.
Sam can hang, everyone. I'm just messing with him. I'm just razzing him.
You're cutting the wind out of my sails of my pitch later, I'll tell you what.
This is our Halloween episode before our Halloween episode. This is our Hallows Eve episode. Are you getting in the spooky spirit? Are you indulging in any? Do you have any Halloween traditions? I have a lot of I have several different Halloween playlists of this is where I go when the season starts to turn.
The only thing I've done so far is buy candy on sale. And by on sale, it probably is we marked this up to then mark it down, but I fell for it and I was like, Butterfingers and Crunch Bars. Hell yeah. And so I have a basket of candy that's probably not going to make it to Halloween. That's this is for the kids.
That's me. Good stuff. I like that. I'm crazy about pumpkin, and I know that that's really cringe, and I know that you're not supposed to like pumpkin because it's a marketing tool. I love pumpkin stuff. I used to buy
pumpkin flavoring.
Yeah, pumpkin flavor stuff. I used to get pumpkin muffins. I would get there are these Krispy Kreme pumpkin crullers that they would sell that I would get every year. I was all about it, and here they're all about sweet potato, and I've been buying a lot of sweet potato related. There's a pancake with sweet potato and mochi and cream in it, and then I got a sweet potato topped pudding. Some good stuff in the Halloween season, I will say.
I did do that the first day of October. I was waiting for some friends, and I was next to a coffee shop, so of course I got coffee, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do the 45-year-old divorced dad, one tall black coffee, please. I'm going to get a pumpkin-y drink.
Yeah!
And it was $7, and it tasted terrible. I was like, this is why I don't do this.
That's you'll go out to a coffee shop and you will get just a parfait, that's your meal, you know what I mean? Or not parfait, it should be a parfait, because at least a parfait has some crunch in it, some solids, right, to support all of that sugar and poison.
You go and get one muffin, one plain muffin.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a vibe. It's really hard to not buy seasonal drinks and get sucked into that. I'll show you. This is what I got.
It's not that hard.
I got this guy.
It's not that hard.
You can see I got a little pumpkin guy. And then I got this cat in a little gravestone. Thought that was pretty cool, so I got that.
Cat.
I just like going around like dollar stores around Halloween time and just like picking up whatever cool guys I can find and collecting them.
I have a new tradition, which is I got my cat almost exactly a year ago, like this week. And so now my cat I will always associate with Halloween, and now I'm just going to buy her like a toy every year. And so that's my new tradition.
That's so cute. Wait, have we talked about the lore of your cat on the podcast before?
I don't know. She's currently like she started like meowing as soon as the episode started. I often think of her as like, you ever played like multiplayer games as a kid and you'd hear like you'd be on mic with like adults and you'd hear like the crying baby in the background. Like she's my crying baby, where I just like anytime I'm on like a call for work or I'm recording the podcast, you just hear like meow, and she turns it on. The waterworks are in full effect as soon as I start talking to someone. People think that I like beat my cat or something.
Yeah, very very performative.
Animal abuse accusations are pretty popular on the internet these days. But
you're gonna release the tweet. Do you remember the Shane Dawson tweet that's like,
I do.
So long? He's like, I did not do this. I did not beat my cat. So
like
specific.
He must have had sex with his cat, right? Like
That's
the
seems
feeling
like
you get from that.
Yeah, no. The real lore about Sam's cat, whose name is Penny, is that my name is Mallory, and when Sam got the cat was named Mallory, and he changed the name because he's like, well, I can't have a cat named the same thing as my friend Mallory. And that really broke my heart, because I really wish that we had the same name. And in my mind, it is her middle name, though, right? I think.
So basically, like, I got the cat through the adoption agency, and her name was Mallory, and because of that, all of her paperwork says Mallory, and I have insurance for her, and she's a very needy cat because she has a bunch of allergies. So for insurance purposes, her name is now Penny Mallory.
Yes.
She's got a middle name, so you won in the end.
And I feel like also I won because I'd forgotten the detail that you got her around Halloween time, but I love that she is associated with Halloween because I am also associated with Halloween. So that's really...
Her name was almost Pumpkin. Like, Pumpkin was like the number 2 name, and essentially I was like... people beat it out of me that I was like, well, Pumpkin's okay. And they were like, are you going to sit there and talk to your cat and be like, oh, come here, Pumpkin? And it's like... Yeah.
Yeah.
But they talked me out of it. And Penny is cute.
SMH.
Penny, she's named Penny because for the first like 2 weeks I had her, like she lived under my couch. Like she hid every day. She was terrified. Did not want to hang out, which is a very cat thing. But so that's where you find pennies, is under the couch.
Aww.
And then they got rid of the penny the same year.
Aww. So and she remains. She claimed the
does.
name. That's good.
A relic of an old time, of an old age.
Your grandkids are gonna be like, "What's a penny?" It's like, well,
well, you see, kids, they used to have this thing, and we said it was made of copper, but it was really made of tin, and yeah.
Whoa. Sam, have you watched anything interesting this week? Because I've got one.
No, I'm talking
thing
about my
that I
cat.
watched. Okay, well, let me tell you about. I watched a stand-up special from John Marco Cerezi, who I know that you are very fond of.
I am.
That he uploads to YouTube, called Thief of Joy. I don't know if you've seen this one.
I have seen this stand-up special. I forgot about it.
Yes. It's pretty good. It's like, I feel like there's a kind of tragedy with, because I've had this a couple times. There's another stand-up that I really like on YouTube called Finlay Christie. I don't know if he's like a British guy. I don't know if you've heard of him, but like I watched like a special of his on YouTube as well recently, and both him and John Marco are like similar to me in that they're like YouTube Shorts guys to me. I'm sure they're like TikTok guys, and I'm just not on TikTok, but
I think it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like John Marco is great in like 10-minute chunks, but he doesn't have the like handcrafted special because he doesn't.
Right.
Because he puts out so much content. Like he's making like a special's worth of content every week and putting it out there, and so you see him workshop jokes and stuff like that. So you don't get the like I spent 3 years toiling away at this at the Comedy Cellar, and now I'm here. You get like, oh, okay, this is more the same.
Or you want that like classic storyteller thing where it's like, and like they mention it at the very beginning, and then they bring it all the way back at the end, and it's like, oh,
right. It's missing some of that like structure and that like aha moments, but it's still pretty funny.
Yeah, and it's not bad, but that was. See, there's the way of viewing it like that, and this is probably true, but I think the way that I was viewing it when I was watching it was like, I almost feel like I'm spoiled for like getting all these like snappy bite-sized bits of comedy, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To where now like that is kind of how comedy specials goes. Like very rarely are you just like at a 10 like for the entire, like you can't really sustain that, you know what I mean?
It's pretty sad if we're to the point where like comedy specials aren't snappy enough. Like that is like the ADHD brain has taken over. The parasite of short form content is like here to stay, where it's like, yeah, they're giving me a joke every 15 seconds, but like, come on. Like I also could feel that way sometimes, and it's like, hold on a second, this is about as snappy as it gets.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like I wasn't really sure like how my perception, you cannot, there's no like control group of like a me that doesn't like watch YouTube shorts every day, you know, so like
for sure.
Let's see, but it was still enjoyable. I liked it. A friend of the show, John Marco's
friend of the show, John Marco, yes, the most famous person to comment on our YouTube channel, which is fun. I was telling Mallory off air, but essentially inspired by the fact that we made a John Marco joke and like pretended to do the whole don't know how to sit in a chair thing. I think that's what I'm going to go to Halloween as. Not as John Marco himself, but essentially as like a stand-up. And I'm just going to carry a bar stool around and like a bottle of water and a microphone and just sit around and be like, yeah, so I did some travel this year. You know, I went to a little-known country, Saudi Arabia, and just like sit there and do like pop culture references and be like, yeah, so, you come to this party? Yeah. What do you do for work? You know, just like annoy my friends at this Halloween party I go to every year.
No, I like that a lot. That's a fire costume.
Go to like known couples and be like, I'm getting a little bit of a romance vibe here. You, the first date? That could just, do all the normal bits.
All the typical gags. That's good. I'm gonna be Frankenstein.
That's also good.
Which is also I'm excited for this podcast.
Your costume will be way more involved.
Yeah, there's going to be a full face of paint. I'm going to be like standing in the shower, just as I will after having put on this one. Just like staring directly into the shower head as like hot water blasts like, off of my face for hours, just regretting every decision. Green is going to be interesting because like the one that I've done in previous years is like a full like red like demon face. Mm-hmm. And that one, like, you would wash it off, and, like, if any red left, like, I would look kind of, like, flushed or hot or something, and then I would, like, look at around my neck area and be like, see the patches and be like, oh, I did not fully wash that out, you know?
Right.
Green's gonna be, like, an interesting one. Like, I'm a little...
hard to miss green, for sure.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about how long that's gonna take to, like, get to a level where I can, like, go to the grocery store.
Do you remember, for this podcast, do you remember, like, what costume has been, like, the most difficult to, like, take off after when you drop the mask?
I mean, Gigi, I remember partly because it was recently, but also because I went to work after that. So I was like, I have to get this off of my face. So that was, like... I think it's like the speed combined, you know what I mean? Like this, I'll wash it off, and then if I notice my nose is still black tomorrow morning, I can still fix it before I go to work, you know? But yeah, I think that's the one that I remember being the most stressful. Queen was probably like... Queen was the one that had everything, because that was like... I was dressed up at a level that I could go to like a convention at. Like a lot of these, like I don't have like... pants but this one's okay because I can just wear my like black work pants, but like a lot of these I'm just like wearing shorts.
Pants, very important for the podcast for sure. Yeah, exactly. Like that's what people are looking at in this podcast is our pants.
Yeah, you get.
But I know it bothers you.
Be careful though. I'm always getting up and like interacting with like my kooky background, so it's like I gotta be careful. Yeah. More Halloween stuff. Because I did actually. I know we're just talking about nonsense, but I did my other thing, and this is what I failed to recommend you this year, and I guess maybe we'll wait until next year. Vis-a-vis like Halloween content. Is Are you familiar with Lemon Demon / Neil Cicerega?
I've heard the name Lemon Demon. I don't remember why.
So he did Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny. He did Potter Puppet Pals. Like, those were his initial kind of claims to fame. And then he did a bunch of, like, stuff that was famous on YouTube in, like, 2006 type of vibes. And then he was in a band called Lemon Demon. He made this album called Spirit Fun, and it is, like, the Halloween album of all Halloween albums. Like, the vibes are absolutely immaculate. They're so good. I've just been enjoying it so much this Halloween. Never fails to hit. I'm all about my Halloween playlist. You gotta get Igor, and you gotta have Spirit Fun in the rotation. You gotta get Frankenstein by Rina Sawayama. I've been vibing a lot.
Do you know Louis Zhang, who does like the ghost animation?
Yes. The ghost songs are always amazing. I love seeing the evolution of his animation style this year. Is like really beautiful.
Good, really good Blue Sky follow. Just being like, here's some really cool art or really cool music, like, which is obviously art as well, but like multi-talented artists where you're just like, no matter what you're posting, I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Absolutely, yeah. That's like he made one song called Pumpkin's Revenge, which is like absolutely my all-time of his songs. That's a Halloween bop. Worthy Kids, who's behind Big Top Burger, does all of his songs for the like Zomburger that are like the villains of Big Top Burger are just the most Halloween of time. Real good stuff. Do you watch Big Top Burger?
I'm nodding my head like I know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, see, here's the thing. The tears, last week in the pitch, you asked me about the clown show, and I was like, this is kind of the clown show. Like, I'm dressed as the clown character who's not really a clown, but looks like a clown. But then you were talking about Amazing Digital Circus, which the protagonist is a clown.
Yeah, I went back and listened to that. I think I'm totally in the right there.
But here's the thing, is the real clown show, the true clown show is Big Top Burger. And then we'll get to that eventually once it wraps up. But yeah, that's been my spooky haunted Halloween week. Share your favorite Halloween songs in the comment section, viewer.
Share your favorite random internet animation in the comment section below.
Who's your favorite little internet guy that makes webs? Yeah,
makes webs.
That was Neil Cicerega's bio for a long time.
That's good. I like the quirky, the like people. The art of making a good like Twitter bio or Blue Sky bio or YouTube channel description has kind of fallen by the wayside, but I like them. I like mine is stupid, but I enjoy it, which is that the frog is in control because my logo is a frog.
It's good.
And that's just something that like a friend of mine said at one point where I was really deep in the YouTube hole, and she was just like, the frog's in control, and I'm like, yes. And then I changed it to that. That's been my bio for like 4 years. But I like when there's the silly bios like this. You know, everyone makes the same joke where it's like a banner image will be like funny joke here, or pretend there's art here or something like that. Like, that's a common one.
Yeah.
But that's obviously not the most creative, but I like when people do silly stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the art of a good bio. I've spent huge amounts of time like debating bios in the past, and I feel like I've also kind of let it fall by the wayside in more recent years. Like, my Instagram bio now is just like about meeting Rina Sawayama. I used to change my Instagram bio regularly and put a lot of effort into it. Now it's just like gone. I think the best bio I ever had was on my anime list, and it just said fuck. And I think that was really good.
The peak of creativity.
Yeah.
Well, that
I like
sounds like
that
a
word,
good segue for what
up.
we're going to talk about.
That's gonna come up this episode. Let's come stay at the Happy Hotel, Sam. Yeah, it's not even a pun. I'm just welcoming you in because I'm being a nice person today.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel.
Sam, so this week I had you watch season 1 of Hazbin Hotel, the amazing haunted spooky Halloween series that's on Prime Video, and I also made you watch the pilot on YouTube. What did you think of this beloved classic that's been universally praised from all corners of the internet and hasn't come under any fire or controversy at all?
Yeah, that it's a fun little online cartoon. That devil guy seems really silly and seems like a pretty terrible boss when you think about it. Like, I think it is true to the spirit of the show, and yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Sam, that's not the other one.
Hazbin Hotel, yeah. You had me watch the pilot. You had me watch the Amazon Prime season 1. And so now I am fully primed to do what everybody does and go like, the original was better, blah, 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 blah. Which is the only sentiment I have seen about the show in the little bit of Googling I've done. That and a lot of porn, which is like, okay. That's front and center with this show for many reasons, which is funny. Yeah, it's a show. It's animated. It's got characters that say things and a story that goes places. I don't know. This is not the most enthused I've ever been for an episode of this podcast, but I am curious what our conversation's going to be like. Here's the thing. When I don't know what to say about something, my instinct is to go, Mallory, why did you pitch me this?
So there's a couple reasons. So first is obviously the sinister reason that I have behind most of my pitches, which is I want to talk about it just completely selfishly. And and this is like a platform where I can force someone to have an engaged conversation with me about
That's kind
something
of the
that I'm
premise
very...
of the show.
Yes. So that's just me expressing my like hellish control over you with the secret deal that we made. But I don't know. I think I'm also like just interested as someone who's like maybe less like, okay, so we had the back and forth in our like little intro bit about like me being like, oh, you're like snooty and like high art or whatever. But I do think there's a degree to which like there's a type of like Tumblr art that I'm like super primed to like, and you're down for, but you're not just gonna like it because it is what it is. You know what I mean? I feel like that's maybe fair to say.
Yeah, I know that there is a certain crowd where like I don't mean this pejoratively, but I know people use this pejoratively. The like deviant art style,
right?
People find very appealing and charming and what have you. I don't really have that. So it's more hit or miss for me. And I would say that, yeah, these characters do scream Tumblr, and that is okay. I can sit here and go, these are some pretty solid character designs. These are some pretty well... It's an interesting blend to me of, like, Newgrounds and, like, Showtunes, which is, like, an interesting combination. There's clearly a lot of passion behind this show. There's clearly a lot of... I'm inclined to like any series where like I can feel the author or the creator like having a centralized vision and being like, I'm so excited about this idea and I'm so into these ideas and these character types and these presentation methods that like I'm gonna bring you along because I'm that enthused. I'm not a Broadway guy, but, Hamilton's pretty fun, and I can, like, listen to it and be like, wow, this person really liked that autobiography, or that biography. It's good. It's fine. It's fun. I think it kind of came together for me in the last episode, but it was a rough journey to get there.
Yeah.
You want my first controversial take?
Sure, hit me.
The pilot is not better than the show. And I know that, like, I'm immediately going to be, like, sent to internet hell for that. But the pilot's probably better animated, right? Like there's more.
Yeah.
But my problem with it, and generally my problem with the whole Hazbin Hotel Hellverse, haven't seen anything else, but I'm just going to use the term that's there.
But we can assume that the Hell of a Bus has all the same problems.
Energy. Yeah. Is that it is a little bit too, like, hyper for me, where it's like... the thing that I kept thinking watching the pilot was, like, this has Johnny Test sound effect energy, where, like, everything's like a whip and everything's like a like squish and squash and honk, and I'm like, okay, this is a little much. It's so hyper, and it's like we can't introduce one character. We have to introduce like 800 like in this scene and be like, oh, look at all these people, and that can be fun, but it lacked a little structure for me. And I think I liked the show the further it went along, because I could get my hands around it more.
Right.
And early on, it's like, what is this world? What are the consequences of people's actions? Are there consequences? What's the tone? Is this supposed to just be lighthearted and silly? Is this supposed to be super serious? That's my problem number 2, but I'll get to that later. But I think the show, just by having like a 5-minute, like, here's Charlie, here's Lucifer, here's how this works, here's Lilith, it immediately had more structure to me than the pilot just like throwing you in there with the newscasters, who are very much not my favorite characters.
I pretty much 100% agree with everything you said. Like, I think that we are, and the fact that your top 2 problems that you've listed off are like to do with the overwhelm. I'm not gonna like say pacing necessarily, because I think there's like some nuance in like what the reason for it being so overwhelming is, but like pacing.
I don't mind a
part
speedy
of it.
pace at all.
Yeah.
I like that dawn to dawn you're fighting a giant crab and a turbo grandmother in like episode 2. Like, I think that's fun.
Yeah. But the way that it feels overwhelmed, the difficulty of like understanding things, and like the way information is delivered, and then like number 2 being the kind of understanding consequences and what we're supposed to feel bad about and what we're supposed to not, and like the morality of it. I feel like that's also probably like top 2 for me in terms of like things that are tough with this show. Like, I think that Hazbin Hotel, I kind of felt myself like dreading rewatching it, and I rewatched it, and I
pitched it.
I know, but like it's because I have to talk about it. Like, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that, but like, I think that like it's I almost enjoy it more after I've watched it, because then I have all the characters and I can play with them in my head, and I can think about like their individual arcs and stuff like that, and like I can look at people's fan art, and I can rewatch like the songs that I like out of the soundtrack and stuff like that. But I think that like the experience of watching the show does really feel like one of those like roller. I don't know if this is relatable to everyone, because I think I just also don't like roller coasters. But like, have you ever been on one of those like roller coasters that's like a bunch of right angles and you're just kind of getting like jerked around, like, and like, I don't know if that's pleasant for people.
The point of the roller coaster is that you're gonna be like, you're gonna kind of have whiplash, where you're gonna be like turn suddenly and then turn suddenly again and then turn suddenly again.
Yeah.
And now there's a song. Like, that is a bit, the experience I had with Hazbin Hotel. It's like, okay, is this supposed to be an emotional moment? Are we getting into like some actual like strife with like Charlie's plight or Vaggie or whoever? And then it's like, nope, we're doing dick and ball jokes. Nope, we're doing this. No, it's like, okay, like, and now we're singing, and I'm like, okay. It is definitely not batting 1,000. I think it's a funny situation where probably my favorite episodes are the final 2, and that's a pretty good place to be in. Like, I would pick up season 2 on my own if it wasn't for this podcast, I think.
Right.
when it really starts to get into like the mechanics of like heaven and hell and redemption and all those different things, suddenly it feels like a living, breathing world that has like stakes and has like intrigue. First 6 episodes in the pilot, I was like, okay, does any of this matter? Like, what's an overlord, and is there like a politic to this, and why am I meeting like a new society like every 5 minutes? I think the show makes a big mistake by like introducing the V's, and then Carmilla, is that the weapons dealer?
Yeah, the weapons, yeah.
Her and her like council that the Radio Devil is on, like it's too much too fast. Like, I was sitting there going, I don't really understand like Charlie and Vaggy's dynamic, and I've spent like 4 minutes with them and they're the main characters. So like where are we supposed to be here? And that's not to say that like having a big giant world is not important and fun, but and a good thing for this show ultimately. But it felt like I was in like season 4 of Hazbin Hotel, whereas I'm supposed to be in season 1. There's not enough like dicking around at the hotel early on. It's like, it feels like if you like took like episodes 2 and 3 and like kind of threw them towards the back half of the season, and then like maybe pulled some of the other stuff forward, it would help better.
Absolutely. I mean, I think upon rewatch, like episodes 2 and 3, I think are really the ones where, and it's also really hard because those are very much like introductory episodes still. Mm-hmm. And you're getting a feel of like, what is the show? What is the regular rhythm that we're going to like settle into, you know? And I think a little bit more of like there's like the Angel Dust episode that's like a focused character episode. I think like a little bit more stuff like that like we're like, this is a Vaggy episode. This is a, I don't know, Husker episode, like whatever you want. Just like a little bit more like we're doing stuff around the hotel, and it doesn't have to be about like redeeming them, just like kind of, I guess, like having fun and living at the hotel. I think that like episode 2 and 3, they both have this like divided focus where you can have like an A plot and a B plot. That's an extremely common thing in like especially a 22-minute TV show, but they are so tenuously connected. I think 2 is probably the worst at it, but even 3 is like, it really feels like a stretch to connect the Carmilla, who's like the weapons one, with Vaggy's like story. And like, I understand that they're developed as like this like mentor relationship or foil relationship somewhat. That
that
like,
comes out of nowhere, and I would say episode 7. Like, those two characters don't interact at all until the very end. And it's like, these characters are cool, and I guess they're kind of like coded to be kind of similar. Or what have you.
Yeah, but that does nothing for me. Her voice is phenomenal. She's a really good singer. Carmilla does not need to be in the show. I really don't think that.
It was a little bit like, why is this character getting a song? I just met you, and I guess you have daughters, and that's cool. But like, who are you? Like, I still don't know who Vaggy is, and now and I like Vaggy became like one of my favorite characters. But like, it takes, like, she's so on the back and like on the back burner for so much of the early parts of the season, and I'm just like, I'll say this positive.
Yes,
you know, here's a compliment sandwich, right? We've talked about some of the negative. here's some positive.
Yeah.
I like Charlie a lot. I think Charlie's really easy to understand as a character, and it's a very fun dynamic to have, like, this character was born in hell, so they're not a sinner, but hell is their home, and that therefore they are like the most unique voice among like a bunch of degenerates. Fun premise. Her voice actress's performance is like infectious, and it's like it's always. This is a character that could very easily be like annoying or like so sweet it's cloying, right? She is, I think, very charming, and I think that is like great. She does not get a ton of attention despite being like the main character for a long time. Eventually, it kind of gets a rhythm, but it takes a long time to get there. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the hardest thing for any TV show, whether it be animation or otherwise, to like get right, is like a consistent tone and a consistent like rhythm, pace, what have you. But for a show that's like also a musical and also a web animation and also like, here's another red flag for me with series. I hate when a series gets spin-offs like immediately. That always to me feels like divided attention. I don't know anything about Hell of a Boss except for I've seen some of the character art. I'm sure it's great. It's really weird to me that this show has one season and then a spin-off. Like that's
in its second
to me that's
season.
always a bad idea.
Yeah, no, it's Hell of a Boss is like in its second season, I think, technically. It's and then that even got a spin-off because the idea, just to give you the brief on Hell of a Bus, and then we can completely move on because it's unrelated. The idea behind Hell of a Bus is like this is going to be a little bit more of a traditional like Tom and Jerry like slapstick cartoon. You know, these are like imp bounty hunters that are like going on like crazy shenanigans, and then that starts getting like emotional turns and musical numbers and like there's some good stuff in there for sure, but it's like, okay, now this is like going for the same thing that like the main show is going for. Then they started making Hell of a Boss shorts, which are
right.
kind of back to the original concept that are more like thing. And so I'm like, all right, so now we're on kind of our third series, even though it's like
that's a lot to build off of a one pilot and like 8 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a weak foundation to be like, let's do all this other extra stuff. Like it feels disjointed and distracting to me.
Yeah. Which I like, again, like the enthusiasm is awesome. And I think that it's something to admire the creator for, of like the energy and like the life that they're like breathing into all these projects and their ability to create characters that like resonate with people and that people really enjoy and like all these like fun designs and stuff like that. But yeah, it is, I think, as a consumer of just like what they're putting out, it becomes like pretty disjointed and hard
I think it's
follow,
indicative of a bigger problem, right? Of like being distracted, disjointed, hard to get your hands around. Like these are the biggest problems I have with the series, that is ultimately pretty creative and like full of life and at times, I don't want to go so far as to say brilliant, but clever. Like it is, it's got some stuff going on. I'll say so. Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do you think of this as like a Amazon Prime show, or do you think of this as like a web series?
I think of it as a web series. I think, in the sense that it is just so rogue. It's really interesting as well, because there's kind of a. This is why I want to like. This is why I really want to get into, because I feel like there's nothing in the discourse that I like find about this show that like scratches the itch of like what I actually want to talk about with this show, which is like. There was like this really strong energy, and I'm gonna out myself as someone who was like on kind of like, you know, I branded myself as being very Tumblr. I was also pretty Newgrounds back in the day, and I think that you know, there's Newgrounds has had a bad rep, and for good reason in a lot of ways, and like just vis-a-vis like stuff being not necessarily like kosher vis-a-vis problematic levels. At the same time, I think there was like this huge energy and like sentiment at the time, and I'm curious to like what extent you perceive this as like being a thing of like it's so annoying that people think cartoons are for kids. It's so annoying that people don't let you have like cuss words in cartoons or even like TV shows or like violence or whatever. What if I want to tell a story that has like just being annoyed at like the rating system, essentially. Like, what if I want to tell this story and I want to tell it through animation, but I want to incorporate like these R-rated things, be they violence, be they
sexual themes,
be they slurs,
language.
What if I want to have a character that is like homophobic or sexist or racist or whatever, and but that's a character flaw that gets redeemed or something like that. You know what I mean? How can I tell this story without? And it kind of intersected with that, like.
Can you tell it without having it be all like metaphor or innuendo or what have you? Like cartoons are able to do that and have done that, even in like the common thing is like, I can't believe that this is a kid show. Like that's the comment a lot of times. It's like,
right.
Can't believe they blew that woman's head off in Avatar: The Last Airbender or whatever, or Legend of Korra. But it's always, there's a lot of qualifiers, right? And so I can understand the desire to like move past the qualifiers and be like, animation can be anything. And I think that has shifted heavily in the last 5 to 10 years, right?
Definitely.
There's a lot of Western adult animation that used to not be a thing. Like, it used to be like if it's Western animation and it's adult animation, then it's like Family Guy, and that's about it. But now you get like all kinds of different shows that have different tones and different themes and ideas and whatnot, like through a lot of streaming services. And some of it still leans into that, like, it's got to be a raunchy 22-minute comedy because Family Guy has been popular for 20 years or whatever, or The Simpsons or like what have you. But you're getting, I'm trying to remember, like I'm blanking on a lot of examples right now. Like I can think of like the shows but not the names. What's that show where like the people are stuck on the alien planet and it's like horrifying and it's like Lovecraftian? I can't remember what it's called.
Oh no.
It drives me crazy.
Is it an animated
and I know
show?
Yes, it is. And I know you're great at pulling like names out of like thin air, so I'm gonna turn to you here. What is it?
Oh man, I have no idea.
This is a much worse example, but like The Boys has an animated show, and that's weird because like The Boys is like this dark superhero show, and it's like animation just doesn't. It used to be like you can't do that in animation because animation has to be for kids, right? And Hazbin Hotel is going for that, but I would say that it feels like it caters to kids or teens more than it thinks it does. Would that be a fair assessment?
That is the thing of it. It's just so interesting. I feel like that's the thing, like the show in a way to me feels like inexorably like a political statement, not in a like or just a statement of like I want this to exist that has all these elements. Like I want it to include violence and cuss words, but it's also going to be a musical and have deep characters that you're going to emotionally connect to, and like because those things shouldn't be mutually exclusive. Like just because I'm including these like elements doesn't mean it should be like Family Guy, right? That it's just like a crude kind of like comedy that's like easy laughs or whatever. And yeah, like it does ultimately feel really rooted in like, you know, that
boundary pushing
thing that just really caters like the genre and the channel. Like Johnny Test is such a funny comparison. And it's like
it's a pretty mean comparison.
It's pretty mean.
This
it's
not
that
Johnny
bad.
Test. Right.
No. Yeah, but it's like it's interesting. Like it does feel like in the realm of people who were like really into those cartoons. And like I'm 28. I love Steven Universe. I rewatch it plenty. I have no like thing of like, oh, this is for kids, you know what I mean? Like Amazing Digital Circus, I think, is an example of a series that is, you know, contains these like maybe more adult existential themes and like references, but like the teens are all like, I have students that like that show, you know what I mean? Like the teens are all about it.
I mean, there's nothing more fun than like this is something that like adults can get a lot out of, but also kids can enjoy. I think the absolute best example of that is Spider-Verse, where Spider-Verse on the surface is a fun like comic book action animated movie or series of movies, but then you start digging into characters and themes and ideas, and it's like this has got like so much going on that you can latch onto. Like it's deep. I like that. Like that word has become like cursed, but like it really is. Like you can sit there and chart out like a Miles Morales' story and what it means culturally and how it reflects back on how people treat like representation and all these different things like that. I'm very much a fan of animation and watching animation, even though you're 28, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
It's not peanut butter and chocolate though. Like with Hazbin Hotel, like there is a little, even me who watches a lot of animated stuff and a lot of like adult animation that's not Family Guy, it's something about it where it doesn't feel like it's quite hitting that tone where it's like, it's weird to hear like clown honking noises and then be like, and this character is trapped in the porn industry. I'm like, where are we? What is this? Like,
I really didn't. I really noticed the like sound effects like this time around in a way that I didn't like on my first watch. Of just like
they also
when a character reacts and it goes
toned down, and they're much more toned down in the Amazon Prime show. Like,
yeah, it might have been
pilot,
because I was rewatching the pilot. Yeah,
I'm exhausted. I'm like, this is gonna be a hard 9-episode watch. The Prime show I think tones it down, but it's still like that. It's weird to go from like, these are the funny silly egg guys and they talk like blah, 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 and then it's like Angel Dust is trapped in a contract and he is forced to
this
be
is
in
what
porn.
abuse
And it's
is
like that
in real life.
like I was like, this is a little strange. Like
It's interesting. It is interesting because I do think that plot line is if we're talking about it in terms of teens, because this is okay, this is interesting because like the comparison I was drawing in my mind when you were talking about that is like South Park, which is very much like, I feel like South Park was made for kids and teens, but it is obviously like contains all these like adult things that are absolutely like prohibitive from teens, but like
right.
It feels like, and it feels like the fact that it's like risque and breaking the rules and stuff like that is what makes it more enticing, you know? And I think Hazbin Hotel is like falls into a similar somewhat category of that. Again, like I am a Hazbin Hotel fan. I'm 28. Like this is not a universal
There are
statement.
dozens of us.
This is
I
not a
definitely feel
universal
like
statement. Yeah.
I don't feel aged out of this show, but I do look at like the pilot having 119 million views or something like that, and I'm like, whoa, this is much bigger than I thought. And I'm like, I am out of touch.
I mean, it's also like it's been around for such a long time at this point, so it's like there's generations.
Right.
Like I watched, like I got into it, I think, when I was in like high school. You know what I mean? Like this a long time ago. But yeah, getting back to just like the tone of the show in general. Yeah, because I guess we're talking about like the depth of themes. I don't know, or just what it is that the show is saying, because it also feels like this person like made this show in a way where that was like the sentiment at the time. It's like, we want a show that's like checking all these certain boxes of like, we're using cuss words, we don't have to have censor bars or it bleeped out or whatever. We're having like problematic characters. We're having like queer characters like that also. We're having traditional 2D animation that's like smooth and dynamic and all this kind of stuff. We're having musical numbers. We're having like deep character arcs. Like it's like everything in like one like exact thing, in a way that like to me it's like hard to not see it as a product of its time in that way. And then it was renewed for like 4 seasons, right? Or like including
also
the first season.
it being that pilot being 10 years old, like I'm sure it was more subversive. Is it 10 years old? Is it 5 years old? Like how old are we talking?
I think
here?
it's only 5, but there are like pieces of it that go back to like closer to 10 years old. Like that.
Right,
that's when
you mentioned it being in high school and like following like just. I mean, it's got to be amazing to follow like someone's Tumblr blog and watch it go from like Tumblr blog to, I'm assuming like animated shorts, to like a trailer to a pilot to an Amazon Prime show. Like that's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely like individuals like that I have followed who is not this person, and it's like you're like it's like you're going on the journey with them, and that's always very exciting, right? And that builds passion over time.
Yeah. Like, I was watching, like, the first thing I saw from this show was the scene in the pilot of Angel Dust in the limo with Vaggie and Charlie, and, like, having that, their kind of, like, confrontation. It's the first time you have the three main characters in the same room. That's the first thing I ever saw, and then, yeah, I would, like, occasionally just watch, you know, this person make speed paints, and they're doing, like, commissions, you know what I mean, to, like, make ends meet, and then, like, going from that to like having a show that's been renewed now for like second season's about to come out, and they were renewed immediately. They were renewed for like 3 additional seasons after season 1 finished. But it is it is just like weirdly
that, it's interesting walking into a fandom that like is clearly like very passionate.
Right.
I haven't quite got my like definitive statement on this, but it's not surprising to me that like when I go to Vivzipop's YouTube channel, right, and I see like what is the most popular video, the pilot's number 2. The most popular video is a fan song, and that is then got animated and then voice acted by the crew, right? And to me, like, the fan content being more popular than the actual thing is very internet, and is very like this has gone beyond this one creator's project. I don't know if these characters are deep enough, or there's enough there with what's released so far to warrant like thousands of fan fictions or what have you, but I'm sure they're out there. And that to me is like intimidating when a show is so new or so short. It's not new, but it's short, right? Like it's 9 episodes. This feels like a fandom, just from the little bit I've seen, and boy, they're out there. I'm learning. This feels like a fandom for a show that has like 4 seasons, but it's got a season where not much happens and a pilot.
And there's also, like, I think it's even added to by, like, the fact that this is, like, an internet person who's, like, created, like, multiple iterations. Like, the character Angel Dust used to, like, they made, like, something like the Spider Brothers. And initially this character is, like, it's showing, like, his father and brother, and they're all, like, in the mafia or whatever. And, like, you know, the design of this character is really cool. They, like, basically, like, lifted it, and it's still their creation, but they lifted it from that concept and put it into like Hazbin Hotel, and it's like, so then there's like this weird fan knowledge of like, the characters, like, so this is probably news.
There's too much lore for a show that has like 8 plot points like total. Like that's how I feel about it a little bit.
But, like, that's the thing. Like, I'm telling you this is probably news to you. Is like, like, Angel was part of the mafia when he was alive, and he has, like, a father and a brother, and they were homophobic and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, you know, and that is through no fault of the creator. Like, she put one cool thing out, and then she thought, oh, maybe I put, like, my character into something, and just, like, builds and builds and builds. And there's also stuff where, like, constantly in any discussion of anything, people will be like, oh yeah, no, she said like this about this character. I'm like, when and where? Like, there's not like a compiled source of like these like things. And it's similar now to like Amazing Digital Circus, where like, you know, the creator has like a Tumblr and just like getting hounded by questions. And at a certain point she I think did the correct thing, which is to just shut it off. But that's also, she's in the advantage of like blowing up because of her series already becoming popular and existing. So knowing like, I don't have to waste my time answering fan questions because like they're going to get these episodes pretty soon, and it's going to answer all their questions. There's always going to be,
you know, people who are so enthusiastic about something like Amazing Digital Circus or Hazbin Hotel that they're going to ask, like, they want to be told, not shown, right? And I do think that is, like, the longer I watch fandoms like this rise and fall or what have you, the more I'm like, maybe the right thing to do is to just say nothing and put the thing out. But I get that, like, because it's animation takes a long time, and you want to keep people enthused and what have you. But, like, I think Toby Fox does this pretty well, where, like, he'll come in for, like, one big project and do like a big live stream, anniversary, concert, what have you, and then Toby Fox like disappears, and it's like, okay, that makes sense to me.
And
I think
he'll
he
be
learned
like
to do that over time, right?
Yeah, he'll be very specific about like clearing up things, like clearing up the fact that like Chris, the protagonist of Deltarune, is not like neglected by their family. Like he doesn't want to spoil the reason why their room is the way it is, but he's like, your family loves you in this game. Like he wants to like clear up things that are going to kind of like mess with your perception of or enjoyment of the story, while also like keeping enough in suspense to where we still don't really, like, we can make a lot of guesses, but we still don't have concretely confirmed the reason why Chris's room is the way that it is. So
I've already in my mind matched you and the Hazbin Hotel fans as the juror number 7. I need everything explained to me. Well, I am the juror number 11. Let art be art.
the 12 Angry Men thread through this. But that's the thing. I think it's like, I also like hesitate a little to blame this creator for stuff like that. I mean, like, I think it is fair. Like,
I don't want to blame any
like,
creator for anything. It's very hard to put things out there, and it's a very vulnerable activity. And I feel for everybody, and I don't know how it feels to have like thousands of people having opinions about your art that then morph into opinions about your morals. So here's something I really hate, that I've already started to like catch a whiff of with the discourse, is this creator is problematic because they made a problematic character. It's a show about people in fucking hell. Like, can we calm down a little bit here?
Yeah.
But, you know, that's internet's gonna internet.
Yeah. Just to wrap up the whole question thing, I do think it's, like, I think that creators like Gooseworks of Amazing Digital Circus and Toby Fox have had, they're like standing on the shoulders of giants, of like looking at people like Vivzy Pop or like Andrew Hussey or whatever. And like, maybe I'm giving her too much credit of like where she's coming in the timeline, but she's been around for like so long. I think that, like, you know, they've seen those mistakes and are not going to make them. And I think that, like, she, to my not, like, I think also just because of controversy and harassment, like, she used to tweet a lot, and I don't see tweets from her anymore. Like, I think that she's reined it in, to her credit. But yeah, I don't know. It makes for a very overwhelming experience as a whole, as a TV show, as a media property, as understanding these characters. However, I like characters.
The show's okay, you know?
The premise.
It's not the fault of the show
cool.
that the first thing I interact with the show is fan art, or like it trending for some reason that I don't understand and people getting upset or what have you. Like, the show by itself, it's pretty good. It's not the best, not the worst, you know, like it's got some stuff. What do you latch onto with Hazbin Hotel?
Well, so even though I'm dressed as Charlie, I think it's pretty obvious that my favorite character is Angel Dust. Like, if you just know anything about my whole thing and what I'm about, I think that was like what initially drew me to the project. Like, that was the that initial like little animatic of them in like the limousine. I was immediately like, yeah, I'm about this guy. I like it. I think that he's a very controversial character, for a lot of reasons. Like, number one, he fits into the, like, just on a base level, he fits into the archetype of like Tumblr sexy man, like just thin, lanky, mean, snarky guy who's like overly defensive, that like
with a quirky voice.
Yeah, that people are just, they just eat it up, you know. And he fits into that, which is bound to provoke a lot of like angst, because as much as a lot of people like that, a lot of people also hate that kind of character.
It's a little black licorice for me personally. This is definitely not the worst version of this kind of character I've seen, but he to me is at the center of the like, what is this show trying to be question, which makes sense because he's the main subject of their, like, they're trying to redeem for most of the show, and the more they make it about him, the less I had a problem with it. But early on, where he is this background character that's like, I'm wacky and I say the dick and ball jokes. Also, I have a horrible backstory where I am under contract and I must be a porn star. It's like, it just feels, I don't know what I'm supposed to think about this show or this character. But as it goes on and as they're in heaven watching like him have his like Saturday morning special or whatever, it starts to like, even though it's more generic, I can like grasp onto it a little bit better.
Understand it,
but yeah, sorry, I cut you off. I want to hear more about
totally.
your opinions.
Yeah, no,
fan of the show.
I think there's he truly is the core of the show to me at the end of the day, in terms of like, not that he's the protagonist, but that like everything weighs on it. I really like so Lars from Steven Universe is another character that I think is like pretty adjacent to this trope. And I have the same feeling about the show that I have about Steven Universe, that like you have a like love everyone, redeem everyone, like happy protagonist, and just the meanest grump you can ever meet. And if they can heal this guy, maybe they can heal the whole world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what Angel Dust feels like to me. And I don't know. I do like the trope, unfortunately. I think also like the huge element about him to me is that he falls into a category of like flamboyant and feminine men who are not shamed for that aspect of themselves by the narrative, and who are like celebrated in some aspects for like embracing that aspect of themselves.
I'm just gonna throw a name out there.
Yeah,
Megaton.
Yeah, Mettaton. and you'll be wrong, because it would be Mettaton.
I'm just gonna throw the name out there.
Megatron.
Sands. Yeah, everyone loves Sand, right? That's everyone's favorite Undertale character is Sand.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, like this is like, anytime I'm seeing characters like that, I'm always gonna like have a soft spot for them, obviously because of like my identity, right? Like, and I think that like seeing like men being able to like embrace and have femininity, celebrate, and seeing that in characters, I think it's just like really important to me. It's also like you know, in terms of like in the scale of like queer representation and like what is and isn't transgressive, like that is among like unfortunately still among one of the more transgressive things. Like, even though it's become a lot more prevalent, it's like you're a lot more likely to get pushback than you are for like lesbian characters that don't kiss each other, and there's like only subtle references to, like well,
there's also like there's the classic like, well, lesbians are like, here's the middle America like swing voter.
Yeah, bring it back to middle America.
Lesbians are okay because that's hot, you know, like that's kind of the like,
I mean, and it's
the unfortunate reaction a lot of people have, right? But it's like, oh, but I don't like the gay guys, you know.
Totally. And it's less threatening to masculinity because they're not messing with it, and they can just be kind of ignored. And there's also the like a huge trait of like lesbophobia, like specifically is like these relationships are trivialized, they're not taking it seriously, they're roommates, your friend, you know what I mean? Gets done to gay guys too, for sure, but like with lesbians, it's like there's some history fact. There was a ruling, I think it was in the UK, where it was like, or no, I think it was something to do with like anti-sodomy laws, and like there was all like laws like making it explicitly legal for two men to have sex, and there was discussion of like, should we have a law to prevent two women from having sex, and the judge was like, we shouldn't put that in the law books because it will give people ideas, and women won't naturally want to do that because women don't naturally want to have sex. You know what I mean? It's like, it's this weird tiered layer cake where you end up with like lesbian sex is legal, but is that really like a good thing, like vis-a-vis how people are perceiving you? Yeah.
Well, because I think people have a perception of like there's a lack of. This podcast is going in a lot of interesting directions.
Yes.
Where there's like a lack of penetration, so that people don't like have as many hang-ups with it or what have you. But it is
penetration
is all old,
corrupting.
dusty. I know, but like
yeah, exactly.
This is all old and dusty, and not like how the world works, but it's how people think, and it's how a lot of conservatives think, or what have you.
Right.
My problem with Angel Dust is I just don't know if he's supposed to be the fun, silly, wacky character or the dramatic, serious character. Like, the Poison song kind of comes not out of nowhere, but it's like the relationship he has with his pimp from like episode 1 or the pilot to like the middle of the season. It's like wildly different, and it's like this is too much too fast is kind of how I felt about it. Where it's like, I barely know this guy, and now I'm watching him get sexually assaulted. And I'm like, I don't know if this show is able to handle this with enough, like, not nuance. It doesn't necessarily have to be nuance, because, like, I think we can all agree that sexual assault is bad. You don't really need nuance for that. But it comes back to the tone problem for me. Even though I like the Keith David song and I like the Loser Baby like wrap up to that episode, it might be my favorite part of the show, but I'm still just like, okay, it's a lot.
Yeah, I think so. Here, this is the thing. You were like, you have faith in me because we're like, this podcast is going a lot of places for reasons because of this show. Like, there's so much here. It's so interesting. I think tonal whiplash is probably the biggest issue in that area. And like when you talk about nuance as well, it's like I think you are correct on the one hand of like, yeah, there's not like, you know, owning someone as like through like a hellish contract. Like there's not necessarily like a lot of like nuance to that. But yeah, like the not being sure how seriously you are supposed to take certain characters at like each certain time can be kind of I think this comes up a lot more often with Valentino discourse. Like that's probably like the most I don't know if it's the most hot, it probably is the most hot button issue because
I vaguely saw some posts about like you shouldn't cosplay this character, or people who cosplay this character or have like rape fantasies or what have you, and it's like people feel very passionately about the character, and there is a little bit of like, why is the rapist pimp got like the coolest character design? But also like this is a show with like a million cool character designs, so it's like I don't know.
That's the thing. So it's like all online is this discourse. I just watched like while I was doing my makeup, I got recommended like a Hazbin Hotel 2025 Q&A panel at like some Comic-Con, and like. It was not 100% of the people asking questions, but every time I wasn't looking at my phone the whole time. Every time I looked down at my phone, it was someone dressed as Valentino.
Really?
People love this character. They love his design.
Now I'm on the reactionary side where I'm like, why does everyone love this character so much?
And there are parts where he's like, I feel like written to be kind of I don't know that I love this character if I'm being honest. But there are parts where I feel like he's written in a way where it's like a lot goofier. Like he's like there's a clip from like season 2, I think, and it's legitimately really funny. Like I think the voice actor's delivery is like really good, where the TV guy Vox is like explaining something to him and he's just taking notes and he goes, I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand what you're saying. And it's like it's a really funny delivery. It's like it's confusing because the show's a little bit confusing, and I don't.
It's really hard to make a character like a rapist and then be like, I'm quirky. Like it's like, all right, well. And
it's like really hard. I don't want to begrudge anyone who enjoys the character, who wants to draw the character, who wants to cosplay the character, who like. And I like I'll be like pretty firmly in terms of like I think if people want to do like fan fiction and niche content, I think that's the thing. It's got to be niche. Like if this was in the show,
not against that at all. I'm not against that. I think
it would be
people
one
are
thing,
maybe
but yeah,
going too extreme with like you can't make fan fiction that's problematic, or you can't make
like
fan art,
non-consensual, sexual, like whatever. It's like that to me is like way too far of an overreach and not understanding the nuances of like those issues at all, and like a very black and white worldview. I think that some people have like, but I think that it's not like that in the show, but it's not not like it's.
Not
I
like
think
that.
I think the accusation of it fetishizing this relationship, I don't really know if that flies. Like, I don't think that you're supposed to ship them at all or enjoy.
Yeah, and I think people who are reading into that are maybe taking too much of like a all or nothing, like it's problematic or it's not, like opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's messy, and I think that like there's fair criticism to be had about like we keep hitting the tone is strange. It's more to me like it's such a raising of the stakes in a show that didn't need it that quickly, where it's like episode 7, Charlie is having public speaking troubles. 4 episodes ago, we were in the porn industry, and this is like pity the sex worker, and I'm like, okay, it's just like it has normal made for children or teenager like character arc-y stuff, like Vaggie's really upset because she lied to Charlie, and it's like, lying is bad. Like it has like what you come to expect from these kind of shows and these like kids media, quote unquote, where it's like it's going to be pretty simple and like after school specially, but then maybe it has more nuance like bubbling under the surface. This has like both, and it's like it's just a little strange. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's flawed. Doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it's evil, but it is flawed.
Doesn't mean we should like harass the creator off of every social media
because you're showing your whole ass when you do stuff like that. Random person I've made up, juror number 13. But it does. It's not a problem in the sense that like you feel those problems as you're just watching the show. Because I'm coming into this without the discourse, without like all I knew about this series was like Charlie's character design, basically.
And here's the thing: I love that you hit the topics that you hit because I feel like they are the most interesting, most discoursed ones. And I'm
speed running a decade of controversies what I'm learning as we talk.
But it's like the fact that you picked up on those things without having any prior like priming, I think is like it's helping me view this series in a more objective light and like have a refresh, you know what I mean? And I think especially about Angel Dust's character, because I think like I'm realizing a lot more of like the reasons why I feel the way about Angel's character. It's like, I was introduced to this character like, 7 years ago or something.
Right.
And I've had that much time to come up with stuff. And
the longer I am familiar with it, the more I like those problems kind of fade away, right? Where it's like you become familiar with like that's where the show took this character XYZ, but when it's still fresh, which is part of what's fun about this podcast, you can sit here and go like that's a problem. Like I liked that with you last week with Chainsaw Man, like the speed and the obviousness of like the Reze arc to me it's just been like what it's been for 6 years, but for you like getting it fresh, I'm like, oh okay, I have forgotten maybe how it felt to experience it the first time.
Totally. Yeah, and the context, how changing the context, like how seeing that arc in a movie as opposed to reading it as chapters in the manga that just kind of flies by is like definitely like influences stuff as well. Like because even with the like again I keep referencing that animatic because I think that changed how I saw the pilot because I'd already seen that scene and I was already like excited for these 3 characters to get together and interact. So that probably carried
like
me.
you had like Angel Dust baggage before he's even like said a word in the pilot, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like that's already like carried me through like the front half of the pilot, and I'm already experiencing something different from you. So that's I think the other thing though that's like even more interesting, like so my favorite episode is the Angel Dust episode, and like the Loser Baby is like my favorite part of the show. Poison was like a little bit more. Yeah, easily the best. Love it so much. I mean, Keith David, amazing. And I think that like
terrible singer, which is great.
Poison fits a little bit more with like how I feel with a lot of the songs in the soundtrack. Was like, okay,
Poison to me has the energy of like I'm sitting in my room at 13, being like, this means something to me, man. Like it has a little bit of like
the Britney
Baby's
Spears
first like edgy song or whatever.
the Britney Spears like leather kind of outfit dancing with the
Sure.
backup dancers, pretty cool. There's some good voice acting on like the last line where he like flips to like his nervous voice or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
like
but,
it's not well done.
right. But yeah, like I think Loser Baby to me was a huge highlight. Like cried, can you believe it? But I think that like it hit me in a different way because I feel like I've grown up with this character weirdly, even though I've seen nothing of him for like half of a decade.
Right.
And then I'm finally getting his backstory. And then yeah, like also just like but like you're helping me appreciate like why people react the way they do to this character arc, because it's just like it is kind of out of nowhere in a show that's like, and I felt myself I kind of had this thought like while I was watching it this time. I was like, yeah, like a lot of the rest of the arcs in the show are like just kind of like the Charlie public speaking arc I think is really good, and it's like simple and it's cool, and I kind of feel like that's closer to what I would want out of the show, but also it's like crazy like
it's less thorny and less complicated, but that also means it's less interesting, but it is easier to digest. So I'm not saying like we'd be having a much more boring conversation if the Angel Dust episode didn't exist, right? Like, and so there is some merit to that.
Totally.
If and like the biggest threat of the show was Charlie's bad at public speaking, like
right. It's interesting to me on so many levels. Okay, so just to like say the elephant in the room of it is like I think the part that it does handle with nuance is like the like trauma from abuse part. I think is handled really well. It's a story that resonated really strong with me and like my kind of experiences, and I think that like the way that it like it did really like help reframe my thinking on some stuff of like Angel just has like an ego about a certain identity, like his identity as being the most sexiest, hottest like porn star in like the whole town is like this ego that was like constructed and nurtured like by like his abuser basically.
Right.
And
it's informed by his experiences in the worst ways, and it's used as like an armor or a crutch or an addiction or what have you. But it's self-destructive as a pattern.
Yes. And I think I also related it to a lot like and then this is me like projecting a bunch of stuff onto the character, right? But I think as someone who is like assigned male and grows up male, like you don't get a lot of appreciation for femininity. You don't get necessarily a lot of you might be thought of as sexy but not in a feminine way, right? And it's like there is a desire of like this repressed identity to be like seen and appreciated in a certain way. I think that like you by default are not given or it's not as easily accessible to you as it would be if you're like a cis woman. And I think it's like the fact that he signed a contract, and then I'm also bringing in the baggage of knowing his backstory, that like the idea behind this character is that he was someone who like lived and died and never came out as gay or anything like that. And now in hell is like finally like exploring this identity, but probably sold his soul away to like get out of the cage that he was in and get into like this new
left
cage.
Vulnerable by having to live in the closet and then taken advantage of, which is a very And I something else I want to point out is that like there's many Pity the Prostitute or Pity the Porn Star like characters. They're almost never men, right? Like that is a character arc that is this may be the first time I've seen it as like like the only thing I can think of is like Griffith from Berserk, which has a whole different thing going on, but like that's a character who like shockingly like sold himself to like, but that was more of like an egomaniac like achieving his goals kind of thing. But like it's rare, right? It's rare to see a depiction of like men in prostitution or men in like this kind of situation. And so that to me also is like these things were thought about, and this character was like I'm sure, like, crafted and conceived and cared for. Even if,
it's
like, the delivery is not my favorite.
Yeah, it's like there's because even like I've talked to a trans woman who was a prostitute and had like drug addictions, and like explained to me like how that like that was basically like, this is how I get through a shift, is like I gotta like, you know, take all this stuff and then I get to the end of it. But that allowed me to like pay for gender transition, that allowed me to like pay for me to like live in Tokyo, like all this life. But then I also like had to deal with all these addictions and stuff like that. And it's a real story. And I think that like the criticism that I dislike the most of Angel Dust, I understand a little bit where it comes from like gay men, or like people who are like speaking up for gay men, that are like, you know, not all gay men are like this, or like he's fitting like a stereotype of like a gay, like effeminate, like sex worker type of thing. Like this is a drug addict. Like he's fitting into a stereotype of like this party poppin' pills, like fun gay boy thing. And it's like, these are like real people, you know what I mean? And there is like a little bit of like anti-femme baked into that, I think, a little bit. It's like not I know it has got to be hard to be a gay man that is masculine and is constantly like having these like assumptions of femininity,
expectations or assumptions put on them, right?
Yeah, like having to choose between your like gender identity and your sexuality, basically. Like I understand that that's like got to be tough, but I don't know. I think I feel a lot closer to the type of person that's represented by Angel Dust, and like I don't know, it's good, and it's crazy that exists in this show, which is just all over the place. It's also crazy that despite Loser Baby being like my favorite song and it made me cry and like all this stuff,
I don't know that character's name.
Hate.
I don't know, like I don't know anything about the Keith David character.
I also like, it's also has like loser goddamn baby, and I hate when he says goddamn because it doesn't sound natural. The cussing in this show, I like it a lot of the times. It doesn't bother me a lot of times. I love to cuss. I've established my favorite word is fuck. I love to say cuss words. When it's like baby's first, they're like, man, this is shit as heck. You know what I mean? It's like when you like don't know how to like, it sets my hairs on ends at so many different parts. And I know that that's the most generic criticism of this show. There was like a meme, if Vivzy Pop wrote X, and they just like put a bunch of cuss words into everything, you know? But it's crazy that this is the same show. It's all these things.
It's another thing where it's like the style and the animation and even like the storytelling clashes with the edginess or what have you.
Right.
And some of that I think is just like the growing pains of like, yeah, this is how people actually talk. Like if you ever like go into a McDonald's and hang out with some teenagers or see some teenagers like ordering food, it's all shit, fuck, bitch, whatever.
Right.
But it leaps out because it feels unnatural. And some of that I think comes down to like the voice acting. Like I think some characters curse better than others. Like I think Alistar, when he curses, it's funny because he kind of he keeps the composure, and it's like just a little slipping of his normal like
his like mask.
I'm the most in control guy. Like him going like, oh fuck, it's funny because he usually doesn't do that, right? Same I would say with Charlie, who is, it's funny when she curses because she is usually more composed or trying to like be the, you know, happy-go-lucky optimist or whatever. But then yeah, the Angel Dust or Vaggie or Bartender Boy, like to me that's like, okay, like that's fine, but it's not like, it's not adding anything, and it's not humorous. Like cursing is really fun, and a well-placed fuck or shit or what have you can really like highlight a joke or a moment. But then yeah, peppering it in like constantly, in a weird way, it is more true to life, but it also just like, it distracts more than it helps.
Yeah, it's also interesting because yeah, like at the same time, it's You compare it to a show like Smiling Friends has gotten like a lot of praise for having these cartoon characters and juxtaposing that with like this
naturalistic
like,
dialogue in a weird way.
Hyper naturalistic, like so naturalistic to the point where you're like, should I be in the room right now? Like, I'm just overhearing this really real casual conversation between friends. It's interesting because this show does have this like big like cartoons. The things that I think cartoons and musicals have in common is that they are both like exaggerated, like more than life, and it makes it hard to have a natural. But that's also because we're conditioned, because most musicals and most cartoons don't have this many cuss words in them, so that it's like, is this series doing a good thing by like normalizing it so that we're like less jarred by like the next one? Like I don't know.
Probably so, but it does to its detriment, and I think
it falls on the sword. It's the wolf with all the arrows in its back protecting like the cuss word musical cartoons of the future.
Well, like the naturalistic dialogue thing, I think is a jump that is like was easier for people to swallow because it's so funny and unexpected, and like at the risk of praising Rick and Morty, like hearing a like bad line reading and like it being kept in the show is such a weird like meta fun thing that I think has like exploded in popularity like since that show's heyday or first few seasons or what have you, like, and I'm not sick of it yet because it's still so different than what you expect. Like it's weird hearing a bad line reading or someone like laughing as they say their line or
improvising
the naturalistic dialogue being like improv-y, and that's fun, and I think that brings like a new flavor to animation, and I could see Hazbin Hotel doing more of that. But I think the fact that it feels written and it feels maybe overwritten and polished to then have curse words, and knowing that the writer put those in there because there's no improv, I think is what maybe like throws it off. No, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, it feels, and the show tuning part I think adds to that.
Very written, and I think that's what, like, to me, I fixate so much on Loser Goddamn Baby because it's the one that I've listened to the most. That's like, it doesn't fit, but I think that like, that's part of his song. And you wrote the lyrics to the song, and there's a sing-along of it, and you can see the like little thing bouncing across the screen, and it's like you feel the writer's hand there in a way that like if you're not going overly naturalistic with the dialogue, you just won't feel. And yeah, that's a good point. I was actually curious because Charlie's cussing is very. It's not controversial, but it is polarizing in the sense that there are a lot of people who think that she shouldn't cuss because that is like her character.
Hard to disagree. I think it's more. I think it's like because her entire character is what she's putting out to the world and who she is are not necessarily the exact same, right? Like that's not to say that she's secretly dark or evil or what have you or manipulative or something, but like she's trying really, really hard and panicking when things don't work, right? And to me, that's like the buttoned up, like straight-laced character slipping out a fuck or a shit or what have you. Like that's funny and also feels like true to life. It's like her pacing in front of the like conspiracy board and like she hasn't slept all night. Like that's her secret dark side. It's not that she has like a secret agenda. It's just that she is really trying to put out all sunshines and rainbows, but she knows how bad it is. She's panicking all the time.
No, absolutely. I that's a good point. I did not have strong feelings either way, but I think that is a pretty solid argument for her to continue to cuss. And it is a good point that like she rarely says it in a way that bothers me, I think. I need to do like I need to just listen to every single one and like give like just my internal feelings gauge on like. I'm sure people have dissected this way too far. Oh man, speaking of too far, there's too much. I kind of want to talk because we talked a lot about Angel Dust. I'm glad that we were able to cover him because like obviously we've talked a fair bit about Charlie, I think. I'm curious. There's like some other side characters I'd be curious to talk about.
Can I give a quick ranking that maybe will like organize this discussion? In terms of like the season's over, what am I most interested in? Heaven is like up there, right? And I think I watched the preview song for season 2 with Lute, right?
Yes, 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 yes,
Gravity song.
yes, yes, yes,
And
yes,
it's
yes, 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 yes.
Listen,
Sorry, I like the show a
I
little
can
bit.
spot a Zuko character arc from like a million miles away, right? And it's like, all right, well, we know where this is going, basically.
Yeah, but do you not feel something with the and
I
hard rain?
Absolutely. No, like that character, I was surprised that like there's so much enthusiasm for that character because she's very much in the background until the final episode.
Yeah.
But like, did she purposely betray Adam? It took 9 episodes, but I finally have like some intrigue and mystery and questions in the show and its world. Like as I finally understood the rules of it and they start breaking the rules of it, it's like I'm excited to see what happens next. Like Sir Snake Boy,
Sir Pinchus.
Thank you. Him ending up in heaven is obviously like a great like twist at the final episode. But even before that, when they're on trial and the Seraphims are so interesting to me as like having the character that's clearly like on Charlie's side and will be like very important in season 2, but then also like the head judge and the reveal that heaven doesn't know why people go to heaven.
Yeah.
Pretty great. Like it's like that is like, okay, that's meaty. We can really like dig into this. And so that instantly made like all those characters more interesting to me. Not that we've seen a lot of them. I wasn't crazy about Adam at first, but like Adam grew on me just in time for him to get stabbed.
See, it's actually like on the second watch through, I loved Adam this time. I don't know what it was. I just felt like I'm like, this is such a good season 1 villain where he's just so obviously wrong, so slappable and hateable, and yet he's also able to like stick it to the protagonist and like have these counter arguments of like, if your things work and then why is no one redeemed? You know, he's like,
pettiness
feels
is
like
a good trait to like inject in a season 1 villain.
It's this like shitty 13-year-old arguments, like gamer on the keyboard, like lol cope or whatever response to everything you say, but like but it actually like getting at like some of the characters like insecurities and stuff, like I mean particularly like Charlie's insecurities and stuff. Like I don't know, something about it, I was like, yeah, like this works. Like obviously he's like a stereotype and very obnoxiously written, but I think that like it really fits. And I do also like, of the songs, the only songs that I have on my phone are Loser Baby and Poison. Like probably third would be like that Adam, like that like Hell is Forever or whatever, the guitar riff or whatever. And man, this Lute song, baby, oh, I may go crazy for it. It's good. Freaking in the hard rock ballads, everything. That's
I'm more excited
point.
about that than like further exploring the dynamics of Hell, because the dynamics of Hell seem very basic. Like we're all just shooting each other in the street all the time. Like it's a little underbaked for me. Definitely. Like the V's aren't that interesting. I will say, Alistar's cool. I don't usually vibe with the like all-powerful trickster character or what have you.
I really want to talk Alistair.
I like this one. I like this adaptation. Like I think he is obviously visually very cool, sonically very cool. Love the radio effect. It's a little like Doki Doki Literature Clubby with like him glitching out whenever he's on camera and like what does that mean? The fact that he has a contract I think is really interesting, and it's like I like that they throw that out. I like that there are some plot threads they're willing to like let lie, as opposed to like establish and resolve within 4 seconds. Right. And yeah, that's all interesting to me and fun.
Yeah, he is interesting. I'm less fond of Alistair. I know that's very controversial because I think he's probably among the favorites of the fandom. Like he's very interesting. This is an asexual serial killer who is Creole and seemingly practices voodoo, but speaks with the transatlantic accent and doesn't really seem to have a lot of codifiers that would make you know that unless you got this information.
Man, I'm glad that you have all these footnotes and show notes that I don't have, because for me it's just like, he's a dude. Even the voodoo thing, like, I saw that written about a little bit, and I was like, voodoo? I didn't even get that from the show.
Yeah, so this is something that's interesting, not to be too discourse-brained, because it doesn't, ultimately it doesn't really come up with in the show, and is just, like, kind of a background detail. And my theory on it and my kind of hope for it, like, the best version of the show, I think, is that they're not going to touch or investigate it too deeply or make it super relevant because of the, like, problematic elements to it, basically.
Because it's weird that a white character is practicing voodoo. Is that the idea?
Yeah, but then he's like not. It's like, it's also a thing where you can, like, change the character's race because they all have, like, red and white and gray and red skin tones or whatever. But like, it feels like they made a character who, like, does voodoo because they want to do the, like, tropes of, like, the nail in the doll or whatever. I've learned, I don't know what level of familiarity. We have a mutual friend who is, like, from Haiti, who we had a, like, really interesting conversation recently. They were explaining to me about, like, the origins of, like, zombies in, like, Haitian culture, and similarly to, like, the original idea of zombies, similarly to, like, voodoo and stuff like that, is, like, these practices were, like, or hoodoo, which was, like, spiritual, like, magic and stuff like that. It's like these practices would be, like, healing or community based or whatever, and then white people learned about that and projected their racial anxieties onto it and turned it into
it became
World War
like
Z.
you can trace, like, Dawn of the Dead or, like, imagery, like horror imagery, vampires, what have you, to essentially, like, political cartoons and, like, being racist. Like, a Transylvanian is informed by, like, racism of the time, like European racism, and that's, like, what led to, like, Dracula and, like, vampire stories. And the same can be said for ghosts and ghouls and goblins and zombies being like racism against, like, African nations or island nations or what have you.
Yeah, which, like, some of these things, because, like, you have, like, goblins that are, like, based in some stereotypes of, like, Jewish people at a time, and it's like, I think that they've evolved to a point where you can kind of engage with goblins and, like, avoid, like, Jewish signifiers, you know. And I think that you can have some, like, dark, spooky magic stuff, but I think they just got really stuck on the label of voodoo because I think the word, because the word is also, like, the name of a religion that people practice, that our friend's mother practices and has to practice in secret because, or not in secret, but, like, in closed communities,
low-key kind of way, because people
the president, because the president is, like, said last year that, like, Haitian people eat cats and dogs or whatever, you know, like, it's like I think and also because the word, like, I grew up in it was like one of those, like smear the queer type of words where it's like hoodoo and voodoo being, like, pejoratives, basically, of, like,
I associate voodoo with, like, Scooby-Doo, which is not the right association, right? But, like, that's gotta be really annoying if you're a part of that culture.
Yeah, because it's like imagine if, like, just that's, like, Christianity. You know what I mean? It's like this is the name of the thing. Like, it's really hard to.
Well, like, Christianity's getting to that point, and people are freaking out about it. But, like, it's taken a long time, right? Like, now cross imagery has been subsumed into being, like, goth or, like, subversive or what have you, or blasphemous. But it is like, it took a long time to get there.
Yeah. So I think it's like, my take is they should have just dropped that aspect from his character, because I don't think there's any way that they're gonna, like, have a super sensitive portrayal of a Haitian Creole serial killer. I just don't really see that, like, going super well. And I think the second best thing they can do is, like, minimize.
Like, I didn't get
my
any
second
of that
best
from
is
the show.
my second best take is that they can minimize it, and that's at least in season 1 what it seems like they're gonna do. But like also they haven't explored a lot of this character's backstory, so we'll see. And he randomly says like, "My mother made jambalaya." Like, what? It's just like,
whoops.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, I don't. That's yeah. I didn't want to go too far into that tangent, but I've like it just secondhand educating the people, the watchers of Nobody Leaves about Haitian stuff that I learned from my friend. But the like the character himself, I don't like Bill Cipher, and I don't like characters that know everything and are the strongest one. And I think it's really cringy when he's like, "Let me remind you why I'm here." And I think it's cringy when he's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you."
Typically, I agree with you. For whatever reason, I think a lot of it's... What's up? You want to yuck anyone's yum?
I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. I just don't like it.
I think the reason it works for me in this version is because just like everyone is ego-driven in Hazbin Hotel, and so I don't bounce off of the like I'm indestructible like hubris as much as I usually do. Like usually it's like you have the all-powerful hubris character. Boy, I wonder what's going to happen to them. Like it can be kind of tropey or boring or what have you. But in a series where everyone is an egomaniac, like I don't rub up against it as much. I also think that just like by having the cool radio voice, part of my like
add something
dumb squirrel brain goes like, I like listening to this guy talk.
It is cool.
It helps for sure. And visually, I think it's interesting and fun, and that's also fun.
Cool character design, definitely, and the voice, the transatlantic accent, like it's definitely like a good thing. I like it.
Anything that reminds me of Cuphead is good in my book.
I like when he eats a deer. That's. I'm trying to think what the other characters I was curious to talk about was. I think
we haven't talked
Lucifer,
about Vaggie very much. What's up?
Yeah, Vaggie. Yeah, we can do Vaggie, and then I was a little curious to talk about Lucifer, but yeah, Vaggie. I mean, I think she's just good. I think more in terms of I like the depiction of their relationship overall, like Charlie and Vaggie. Like I like that they get to kiss. I like that they like each other.
I like that it's established from episode 1, and it's like not a big deal. Like it's just like they're sleeping in the same bed, they live together, they're like supportive of each other. I like how they support each other's goals. That's very cute. I had a note 3 episodes in where I'm like, if everyone in hell is like irredeemable pieces of shit, why is Vaggie so normal? Like the show did address it. I was like, okay, that's why.
No, definitely. Yeah, that I also like had found myself very curious. I think it's like on rewatch you're a lot more like that song in episode 3 makes a lot more sense when you're like, okay, like you're just referencing events that we have absolutely no way of
At
knowing.
the time, I was like, this character is normal and the show's not going to address it because the show's not smart enough to realize that she stands out. And then it proved me wrong. It was like, no, she's a fallen angel. I'm like, okay, that makes some sense.
Totally. Yeah, no, that's the thing with the show. You don't like it proves you wrong in a lot of times to where you're like, I don't want to underestimate it. You know what I mean? I don't want to, but I also don't want to put so much faith into it because like, is it just going to do something stupid? Like it can be a little hard to be a little touch and go. And I think like some with the whole like redemption morality stuff. So a theory that I've seen that I think is like, I actually don't know how popular it is. It's the one that I believe that makes me enjoy the show the most. And like we'll see if it ends up panning out. But the idea that I've seen is that like whether you go to heaven or hell is kind of like self-deterministic. Like when you die, do you believe that you're going to heaven or hell? That's going to kind of determine like where you end up. I think makes a lot of sense. Like it makes sense for Serpentius's arc because he's like dumb enough to just believe whatever he's told, so it's a very believable that he would just be like, oh, I guess I'm fixed, even though he is like probably not a flawless character. He like it makes sense that he would be like redeemed at the end of the season. It would also make sense with like some of the like the morality in the show gets a little weird because there's this vibe of like and this is touching on a whole other like the gay obsession with hell, like the Rina Sawayama, Lil Nas X, like, you know, like, yeah, or like the idea of like, would you rather go to heaven or hell? Well, I want to go to hell because I'm gonna hang out with Richard Dawkins.
I want to go to hell because hell will accept me, right? Kind of the idea.
There's that, and then there's also like I want to hang out with Richard Dawkins and Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla and
gets a little R atheist for me.
Yeah, exactly,
personally.
right?
I think
like
the show is wrestling with the age-old question of like Christianity doesn't make any sense because like eternal damnation is like so harsh as a punishment. And it's a religion that's based off of like absolution and sacrifice and Jesus dying for people's sins and what have you, and like forgiveness. And then it's like, unless you're bad at a particular time, then you're eternally damned forever. And it's like, oh yeah, it feels a little off, right? And so like, this is well-worn territory at this point, but it is, it's fun how they handle it in this show of like. Even the angels not understanding the system, I think, is like my favorite detail, where it's like, yes, or if they do understand it, they're keeping secrets, which seems to be the case as well with the Sarah character.
Yeah, so it's like, I think, to me at least, like the self-determination aspect, I like in the sense that like, well then yeah, like a lot of gay people would be in hell and a lot of drug addicts would be in hell, and we're not necessarily like morally condemning these things, but because like whatever is stigmatized is what is going to end up in hell. Right. I think like, but it's, again, it's like Schrodinger's good writing, like, because that could not be true, or something else could be true that's equally makes
there's
as
also
much
generic
sense.
Cannibals and like serial killers and everything else in there, so it's like is this what it's going for, or is it just like this cast happens to be very LGBT and it's a show about hell, so that's just how it worked.
And it's like, because it's coded in a way, like there's subtle homophobia from like Lute and Adam, like to I think Lute says something about like your relationship with like Charlie is gross, and it's like it's like not it might just be about the fact that she's a fallen angel and the princess of hell, but like there's obvious coding there, right? And like
Luke hasn't had her Zuko moment where she falls in love with like the bomb lady with the one eye or whatever.
That's amazing. You need to be the fanfic writer for this.
No.
That's such a good ship.
I picked the only other like not taken female character. I guess she could be with like
she's with Serpentius, obviously. That's
yeah, I know. I mean for Lute.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because Lute has the Jasper energy of like, is Lute gonna be obsessed with Jasper from Steven Universe, I should say. Right. Is Lute gonna be obsessed with Vaggie now because Vaggie defeated Lute, and like that's gonna be probably a whole thing.
No, totally. It's just interesting. Like I think I feel like the show is pretty clear in like it's not bad to be gay. Like we have these gay characters being like obviously celebrated within the narrative. So then even if another character says something homophobic, like it's clearly framed in a way where like this character is bad for saying that. The drugs thing in this show kind of bothers me a little bit. But I don't. Right. I guess I just don't know. It just feels very moralistic about drugs, but we don't know where it's ultimately going to weigh on it. But like, there is just. I talked about this in a previous episode of the podcast, but like the part where the like Saturday morning special where it's like, are you going to choose drugs or are you going to choose helping your friends or whatever? Like, it does just like.
It doesn't make that distinction well enough early on.
It's not clear.
I think that episode works for me because it's like, are you going to choose hard drugs? Like, they're not sitting there going, well, he's taking shots of alcohol. Like, it's not like Angel can't be a party boy. It's like Angel can't, like, kick little maid girl, like, into the wolves just so they can get some, like, cocaine. Like, I think it's... I can see why you have problems with it, but to me it's like and it is a little yada yada, but it's not to me like the focus of the show, so it doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is a good point. Like, it is, because I did notice they had the line of like, they start doing shots, and then Charlie's like, "Have you never like drank after a hard day of work?" Like in the court trial. So I'm like, yeah, it is. It's
exactly.
like there is clearly a distinction between like using drugs as a coping mechanism, which is like shown in the earlier episode, or like getting so inebriated or like high that you're no longer able to be responsible for like whatever it is you're supposed to be responsible for, you know?
That's not to say that the show doesn't also have like throwaway jokes of like, we found most of his drug stashes or whatever. Like, it's not, it is doing both, and maybe that's messy, but I don't know. It didn't bother me too much. I had bigger problems.
Definitely. I know we're getting long in the tooth here, but wrapping things up. What were your thoughts on Lucifer? Because I think that's the last like major character that's worth any discussion.
Lucifer to me felt like Alistar, in the sense of like, I can immediately feel that this character has a rabid, passionate fan base, and I just feel like nothing for him either way. Like, to me, it's like, having him be the like girl dad obsessive is fine. I do still get a little tripped up on like, what are the mechanics of this, because Lucifer doesn't feel that powerful to me, considering like it feels like Lucifer should be fighting like the Archangel Michael as opposed to like Adam. Like, it feels they feel like so mismatched to me. It's weird that like
power scaling is weird in this show.
There's scaling really is weird in the show.
Concrete about how it works, and everyone can kind of do magic, and Angel is able to pull out 2 extra arms and a Gatling gun whenever he pleases, which is fun. I kind of don't want it to have too much power scaling, and I like that it.
And why do some people resurrect as,
feel emotional?
You know, go to hell and become spiders, and some people become one-eyed things, and some people, you know, like, it's like, what, and some people are just like normal humans.
Because Angel was part of the mafia, so they all became spiders because they were like manipulators. And in season 2, there's going to be a fish character that drowned in not the Titanic because they didn't want to connect it to a world war, but basically the Titanic. So there you go.
You're giving me show notes again. You're giving me footnotes that aren't in the show.
Come on,
and that's a problem.
Surely. There's the Alistair theories, are like. He was like burying bodies in the forest because he's like a serial killer, and then he got shot just like the deers and that's why he's a deer, and and he hunted people like deers, and he became I don't know. So that criticism was wrong. Anyway, continue. Lucifer. Yeah, I don't know. I also like. I don't relate to having a dad that just doesn't know how to connect to you, but I'm sure a lot of people do.
Him being. I'll tell you this: Summer Hikaru died did it better in terms of like what we've been watching recently.
Yes, that is a really good point.
Everyone has complicated relationships with their parents. I think it's like human nature, but it's a trope that can really, really resonate with me at times. Of like. Trying to understand someone who's just a generation ahead of you is inherently difficult, and I think that there's a lot of like nuanced ideas you can put into that. The fact that everyone's vaguely like thousands of years old or not, or a teenager or not, it's like
age scaling is also super weird because we want to incorporate a bunch of aesthetics from different eras,
right?
You know, but that is also interesting.
I felt kind of nothing for Lucifer either way, like one way or the other.
Yeah, no, I think he's interesting. Like, fandom obviously loves him. They love that he's a short king, and that he accepts his daughter for being gay. And I think that that's great. And I do like the song between him and Alistair. Not really in the episode is like super jarring, but like outside of the episode, I think just like him getting angry and aggressively like playing the fiddle at him. And like just referencing.
I like that he plays the fiddle. That made me chuckle. I was like, that's fun.
Well, Sam, we've talked way too long about this show that nobody even cares about, and I'm not going to be watching week to week for the next few weeks. And I'm not like.
Why are you negging your own choice? Like, what's going on here?
I didn't listen to the new song Gravity while I was like going shopping and like walking in the street, just
see.
like in the dark, being like, and heart
You're doing one of those sarcasms.
Yeah, it's called sarcasm. So
I understand. You're so witty.
But but this is. I hope you understand now why I want to talk about this show, because it feels crazy being trapped in your own head with it, and the amount of internet discourse makes it really hard to see anyone reflecting your opinion. But I feel like we have pretty similar opinions on it overall, so it's a very refreshing experience for me. What do you think of the show on a scale of 1 to 10?
It's more interesting to talk about from like an artist creating art perspective than to actually watch as a show with characters and arcs and intrigue or what have you. Get some points for being interesting in its season 2 setup. I will say that is solid. Like, it's a good feeling for a show. It's a much worse feeling if a show just like fizzles out and it has a strong start, as opposed to a show like building over time.
Right.
I would watch a second season. I'm probably going to be forced to do so. I can feel that energy coming from across the pond. It's a C, but it's not like a harsh C. It's not like I hate this C. But
that feels appropriate, honestly. I think the stuff you've gotten, there's some good stuff in the C. There's some good picks, like in the C collection of Sam's tier list. Yeah, I feel that's the thing. Like, I would not have really been offended of any rating. Like, and honestly, if you'd been like, I hate this show, like, I would have been like, yeah, like, like it's not like but I do care about it, you know what I mean? And
it grew on me.
I think the characters are there's enough there to really just go wild and feral in your own little corners of the internet with them.
Sure.
And what they could be.
They're fucking singing? Get 'em!
But yeah, Sam, we've had enough talking about all this stuff. What are we going to be talking about on a very spooky episode? Ooh.
We'll be done with Halloween by that point.
Really? I thought you were.
Yeah.
Is this the Halloween episode?
This is the Halloween episode.
Ooh, Editor's note, our next episode will actually release on Halloween, so Sam was just completely wrong, and I'm just going to leave it all on the podcast so that everyone can just laugh at him for being confidently wrong yet again.
I'm pretty sure my pick right now is going to be like the November 2nd episode or whatever. Like, I think it's like past Halloween.
Wow. Hey, all right, leave in the comments, how much candy did you get?
I've already painted you in this episode as the childish, Halloween-obsessed juror number 4, while I am the stoic, 1 black coffee, please, juror number 9. I love this meme so much. I don't know why.
This is really good. I gotta learn about these jurors so that I can start making.
I don't know the actual jurors by heart, but essentially the original post is like, I've already like painted myself as like the calm, collected juror number 6, and you as the like foolish, like illogical juror number 9 or whatever.
I love that.
It is how I think sometimes, so it is good in terms of how people argue.
Yeah.
You and I, we tear each other down in this podcast. We don't prop each other up, you know, and I think it fits that.
This is.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to. You unknowingly foreshadowed my pick this week, because I'm definitely readopting the 45-year-old man with like Reebok sneakers who goes to watch movies alone persona today. I've already pitched you my favorite current movie from this year. We did Sinners a month ago at this point. So now I'm going to pitch you my favorite movie I've seen this year that isn't new. Just a movie I happened to catch and really enjoyed. And we talked about it months ago at this point. I kind of gave you a soft pitch for it. But I want to watch Dog Day Afternoon.
Woof.
Easily not woof. No. Stop that. Easily probably the oldest thing we have watched at this point, I think. Will have become. It's like a 1975, I think. It's a movie I've only seen once. Caught it in theaters and like a rerun a few months ago. Haven't stopped thinking about it. I think it is of the time in ways that are going to be interesting to talk about, but I think it's also a very entertaining and good movie, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Is this the like trans one or like
Yep.
the? Oh, this was interesting. Yeah, I was very curious to watch that. I remembered the title, and yeah, now it's all coming back. Did it have what's his name from Mrs. Doubtfire that's really famous and died?
It does not have Robin Williams. So I've watched two classic, like pro LGBT, but from a time when that was like more complicated.
Where we didn't have our nice little clean terms like we do
exactly.
nowadays.
You're thinking of The Birdcage, which I also watched in theaters. I've been watching a lot of old movies in theaters this year, which has been a very fun experience for me. But this Dog Day Afternoon, Al Pacino trying very poorly to rob a bank to pay for a gender transition surgery for his partner.
Oh.
And that is all I'll say.
Wow. Well, if you're thinking that I'm not gonna love this flick, then you're barking up the wrong tree. Until next week, I hope that you have a great time, Sam. Have a good day.
Have a good evening, Mallory.